All right. Well, if you can believe it, we are exactly at the halfway point of the year. Like literally this tipping point. I think maybe tomorrow is probably the actual tipping point, and we know that we're going to be going into the second half of the year. It was interesting because just got a message from someone who wanted to be on here tonight. I'll share with you what happened and why she couldn't be. And here's literally, I'm going to read this from what she sent me this morning. She and I had not had a conversation about what we were talking about tonight. So she says, a lot of people would wait until January 1st. She just jumped into CEO Focus. She bought the planner. She's getting involved in the community. She wanted to be on tonight's call. And she said, but we are only halfway through the year. A lot of people would also say we are already halfway through the year. But I don't look at the 6 months behind us. I look at the fact that there are still 6 months left. And where can I be? Sorry, I can't read it people at the same time. At the end of this year if I don't push out getting started. And I was like, yes, right? If only we would have that kind of a perspective. And so I want to challenge us. We're not just going to look ahead to the month of July, although we will do that, but we're about to step into, I mean, it's Monday, so we're stepping into a new week. We're about to step into a new month of July, and we're also stepping into a new quarter. Now, that being said, we don't let the calendar run or define our lives. So that doesn't have to mean that you're behind or that something is, not right if you are not where you think you should be. But I think it is good to have some measurable like timelines and milestones that get us to stop and pause and ask some questions. So here is my question for you is how are you looking at the fact that we are halfway? Are you saying, I can't believe 6 months are already gone? Or are you saying, wow, God still has 6 more months left of 2026? How do you typically tend to respond when you look at something like that? Are you more of a glass half gone, glass half empty, and there's still more room to pour into? Again, there's no right or wrong, but I think it's good to notice what am I believing because that's going to affect what we're doing. So are you somebody who's saying, I can't believe 6 months are gone already? Oh my goodness, where did the time go? I shoulda, woulda, coulda. We start beating ourselves up or just saying, what happened to all that time? Or are you someone who's looking expectant forward at what is to come? Same calendar, right? Completely different theology, completely different belief. And this is something you guys are going to hear me start talking about more. If you're already in one of my programs, we've started talking about it. A little bit of both. Okay, thanks for your honesty. I think you're right. We're probably all in both, and that's probably why people didn't drop in there because they didn't want to say, yeah, I actually am thinking about the 6 months that are gone. But we can look at time as something that's slipping away, or we can look at this as a gift entrusted to us by God, right? The one leads to fear and scarcity. The other one leads to faith and stewardship. And that's really what I want us to begin exploring together, not only today, but really as we move forward, right? What is your lens around what, not just what you do with your time, but what you believe about your time? Because something that you're going to hear me starting to talk a lot about is that a right theology, your belief, leads to a right methodology, right? Your tools, which then shapes who we become and the fruit we produce, right? So many of us want to jump into the methodology and just jump into like, let's get the planning done, or let's get the productivity hacks, or let's get the most efficient systems built and all of that. And while those are all really, really good, it can still be really easy to still be a busyness owner, right? Because it's about what we're believing that leads to what we're doing, that leads to who we're becoming. If we believe that our time is scarce and that it's limited and that it's always, get running through our fingers, it's getting away from us, then what is our methodology going to be? Hurry, right? Overworking, reacting, AKA managing our time, trying to keep it contained under control. And then over time, we become anxious, we become distracted, we become exhausted, right? That's the fruit of a life that says, wow, 6 months are just gone. But if we believe that time is this gift that is entrusted to us by God, then our methodology is going to become intentionality with it, priorities, boundaries, right? Rest. And then over time, we'll become this peaceful, faithful, and focused CEO, right? Because we're becoming a different person and we're approaching our time in this different way. And the difference doesn't start in our calendar. It starts with what we believe. Okay. Now, I actually did the math on this. Am I recording? Yes, we are recording. Thank you for asking, Mickey. I actually did the math on this. Okay. If you were to look at your phone and it could tell you, I don't think it can, if it could tell you what your phone time has been over the last 6 months, do you know what the average person would be? Are you ready for this? Okay, here's my former math teacher. The average person will have spent around 810 hours on their phone during the first 6 months of the year. If you take out the time you should be sleeping, that's about 50 full days. 50, as in like almost 2 months. Now, I'm actually less interested in the number and more interested in us asking this question. How is that time shaping me? Right? Like, who am I becoming when so much of my time is going to something like that? Because every habit is forming us, and we make these repeated choices, right? How many times a day are we picking this thing up? Average person touches this 2,617 times in a day. That is crazy. That is way more time than we should be spending on this thing. And then we wonder why we feel busy and why we feel distracted and why we feel like, we just can't ever quiet the noise inside of our head because we're never turning off the noise, right? So this month, inside Redeem Her Time, we are doing a digital freedom challenge. How many of you have been around here in the month of July in the past and done this with us? A lot of times we've just done it for a week. This year I decided we're doing it for the month. So all you need to do to join us is to choose one boundary around your device. I'm not saying throw your phone out. I did a lot of really good things with my phone today. I'm not saying that you have to take every app off of it because that may not be the thing that you need, right? What is one boundary that you are wanting and willing to put around your device for the month of July? Not because your phone is bad, but because we want our attention to reflect our theology. And how many of us are guilty of waking up and seeing the little red numbers and starting to tap them before we open up scripture, right? Before we spend time being filled up in the word. And then we look at who are we becoming because we're being shaped by all of these things. So I'm going to encourage you guys today's podcast episode. In fact, what's going to be coming out over the month of July is actually going to be some replays. We did a series about 3 years ago called the Redeem Your Phone Time Challenge. It was a 40-day during Lent, so it was a little bit longer, but there's a whole library of episodes. So it's episodes, I believe it starts with 105, and that's the one that I put in the podcast today. And then it goes through 122. Up to you if you want to listen to all of them. I just am going to pull out a selected few to use on Mondays over the next couple of weeks. But let's start. This is one simple way that not only are we putting our phone down more, which we all know is a good thing, right? But we're paying attention to how our time is forming us and the CEO that we are becoming over time. And so I want you like having that thought in your head every time you pick up your phone. One of the resources that's going to be coming up that actually is already posted, we posted it today, is the Redeem Her Phone Time screensaver. If you don't have the Redeem Her Phone Time screensaver, it asks you the question, what is it time for before you unlock your phone? Right? And it's got the scripture right there, or Ephesians 5. I guess mine went blank there because I'm probably running down battery. Yep, I'm in the red. So that's one great tool. There's also a guide that I put in there that we used with that challenge back then. So anyway, I want to make sure that everybody knew about that because that's one simple way that we're not just redeeming time, we're redeeming our attention and we're redeeming what is shaping us as we step into a new month, as we step into a new season, and into what it is that God has called us to. So we're going to get into some planning, but first, you guys know we always do some reflecting first. So you may not be dependent on when you picked up your planner, and you may not even have a planner, and that's okay if you don't. I will put these questions in the chat in just a minute. But if you do have a planner, in between each season, so every 3 months, it's intentionally undated, so that way you're never behind. You can start anytime. But if you did start at the beginning of the year, you're about ready to go into season 3. If not, just turn to the next season and you'll see there are 3 questions. Oh, hey, first, before I'm being accountable, I hadn't been doing my praise reports, and here they are for the month of June. So just want showing you guys that I am still sometimes having to make sure that I am using the tools that I put out there. But right on the next page of that is a page that looks like this. And that's a seasonal reset. So if you have a planner, grab that page in front of you. If you don't, grab a piece of paper. And I'm going to drop these 3 questions because I think before we start filling our calendar, it's really important that we take a minute to reset and reflect. So let me drop these 3 questions in the chat. And they are this: my focus, what am I making time for? That can be looking back or it can be looking ahead. So you get to decide. And the second question, my release, what am I letting go of? And the third question, my prayer, What am I trusting God for? And again, those can be looking back at the last month or the last season or the last 6 months of the year, or they can be looking ahead. It doesn't matter either way. I'm going to go ahead and play a song while we're doing this, and then we will move on.
You know me, and you always do. Oh, you keep me, yeah, you hold me close, like new mercies in the morning still. You surround me, and all I know is every hour of every day. Oh, I need you, Lord, and that will never change. Every moment and every way. Oh, I need you, Lord, and that will never change. Oh, that will never change. You're a fortress, you're my hiding place, you're the shelter where I am safe. You have freed me, you have called me by name, my redeemer, my saving grace. Every hour of every day. Oh, I need you, Lord, and that will never change. Every moment, in every way. Oh, I need you, Lord, and that will never change. Faithful, that's who you are. More than able to care for my heart. Father and friend, there till the end. You are faithful, oh God. Oh, and faithful, that's who you are. More than able to care for my heart. Father and friend, there till the end. You are faithful, oh God. In every hour and every day. Oh, I need you, Lord, and that will never change. In every moment, in every way. Oh, I need you, Lord, and that will never change. Oh, that will never change. Yeah, that will never change. Oh, that will never change.
They dropped the link for that. It's called Every Hour by Josh Baldwin. So drop that in the chat. And if you guys run across good, biblically informed songs about that involve time, send them my way. I'm creating a little playlist just so we have things to pull from for different events and things that we're doing. So sometimes we just hear different things. And so I try to, whenever I find something, I throw it over there. So that was actually one that just came out of something that was on my phone this weekend. So yeah, so I love that. I love that. Okay, over the next couple of pages, we're not going to go through the next 3 pages right now in the seasonal reset, but I'm going to encourage you to take some time before we really fully jump into July. And the nice thing is July 1st is Wednesday. but we do have some time because it's a holiday weekend. And so it may kind of feel like you've got a little bit more spaciousness and things like that over the rest of this week. So at some point, do a steer belief map. Check in with what am I believing about my time, about my results, about my calling, about my capacity, about whatever that is. The steer belief map works to like intentionally sit down and say, okay, what's something that I've been thinking on repeat? Let me do a steer belief around it. And there is a video that's attached into the planner resources that walks you through exactly how to use the steer belief map. But it may be something that you want to get in the habit of for the next couple of days doing, right? Or for the next week or once a week that you make it part of your planning time. Because if we're not checking in on our theology, our thinking and believing about our time, then we're always going to run into the problems with our methodology, right? We're going to have great plans on paper, and it's not actually going to move us in the direction that we want to go. Thank you for sharing, Mary, your answers to those questions. Permission, anytime you guys want to share stuff in the chat, you're always welcome to, because that just helps solidify the decisions you're making, the things that you're noticing, what you're wanting support around. So feel free to drop those in there. Okay, so you're going to want to do a steer belief map. What have I been thinking and believing about my time or something related to that? On the next page is your vision board. I think it's really fun to come back to these 8 areas of attention and what do I envision the next 3 months to look like? Now, we're not just going to go paste the pictures of the mansion and all these things that are never ever going to happen, right? But like really, and whether you're a picture person and you want to like do the old, cut pictures out of a magazine and stick them in there, or you want to just put words, I think it's really, really good to get back into that vision place, right? What does the Lord put on your heart? What would you love to see happen in some of these different areas? And guaranteed, probably not every single thing you put down on that vision board is going to happen in the next 3 months, but guaranteed, everything that you don't put down is probably not going to happen either. Right. And it may be that this is just what starts stirring the next step towards something, or, just the Lord starting to really start moving in a certain direction. So take some time to do that. And then take some time to really say, okay, in each of the 8 areas, what is my with God priority? What's the one thing that really matters in this area over the next 3 months? Now, that being said, Q3 is kind of odd, right? Because you would think Q3 would start like June. So we go June, July, August. It feels like it's summer, and then we would start a new one in September, and yet it doesn't. So I always say, like, start from the present where you are, right? So if you have, some kind of a different schedule because of summer, whether that's because of kids or grandkids or your job, or just because you feel like you want to kind of, let loose a little bit more in the summertime, then think about the next 2 months, and then you can start working on what that looks like in the fall. And we can just kind of get a jump on Q4 when we start going into September. But take a few minutes and just one thing, right? If I could just move one thing forward or focus on one thing in each of these 8 areas. For those of you who don't have a planner in front of you, the 8 areas are, here, let me type them in here. So that way I can, okay, your faith walk, your family, your friendships. You'll see them all in a minute. So hang on. Your, sorry, I can't type and talk at the same time. Service, which is the work you do, whether that's a business, paid, unpaid, ministry, that type of thing, caring for your home. Stewardship, which would be finances, time, resources, wellness, passions. That's one of the things I've been working on lately, is just having more fun and blocking off some time for that and making some plans has been fun. And then our dwelling, caring for the space that we're in. So those are the 8 areas of attention. Feel free, if you don't have the planner, to jot those down or save those out of there, because we want to be checking in on where are we in these areas and what is needing some time or attention. Because guess what? If we don't give it time and attention, it demands our time and attention and will always cost us more. So we want to kind of check in at the beginning of each season to say, where am I and what do I need? It's not about perfect balance. I always say balance is not like the even Steven, like thing that, where you put, if I put 2 things on this side, I got to put 2 things on this side. It's the ballerina who's paying attention to where she has to move her body in order to keep from falling over. Okay. It's an active thing, because we are not about reaching this one place of perfect balance and trying to keep it there. That is not real life, right? How am I adjusting based on some of the forces that are pushing on me from around me? And that takes taking some time and attention to look at, where am I in these 8 areas and what needs some focus and specific attention in there. Okay, the next two pages, on the next page is your 12-week plan. Good news. This Wednesday at 10 o'clock Central, we are actually going to do this together. So if you are a planner person who has someone who's a planner, you're invited to join us. If you are one of my CEOs, you're invited to join us. It's usually our co-working session. Even if you're just here from the community and you want to join us on Wednesday, 10 o'clock, same Zoom, we are literally going to be building out our 12-week growth map. So we're going to take one thing that you want to move forward and we're going to be mapping out what that looks like. So you might want to save that one for Wednesday. That is July 1st. We're doing that together. And then I encourage you to rebuild your ideal week template. And again, if you're in summer mode, make it focused on what do you want your time to look like over the next, I'm going to do it in 60 minutes, Michelle. I'm going to work really hard because I want to make sure that you guys can get off to whatever else you need to do. So there may be some parts where we get you started and you come back to it, but my goal is 60 minutes. So thank you for asking that on Wednesday. Yes. But when it comes to your ideal week, where do those important things, those priorities you just identified, where do they fit? Are you blocking off your time for your refills? Are you paying attention to when you need some more margin and space? These things are super important so you're not crash landing to Monday, praying you make it through Friday and you got something done in between that was of some value to somebody. That is not a plan, right? That is a plan for exhaustion and overwhelm and burnout. And we're trying to avoid that. So I always say every season, come back and rebuild your ideal week template because sometimes things have shifted. Sometimes things haven't been working, or maybe you haven't just had it in front of you in a while. And so we've got to get it back visually in front of us. And this is the only place in the planner, if you notice, that I actually put times. Did you notice there aren't times anywhere else? That's on purpose. I do not want you filling in boxes. Okay. I want you thinking in our anchor zones. But on this page, I wanted to at least give you, the spaces so you could draw them. So my intention is that you're drawing where that refill is, and it's probably not just going to be one little box. It might be like 2 or 3 boxes, depending on how much time you're spending. Drawing in where your AM pour out is, your day pour out, your PM pour out. So that's why that is on there. All right. But it is July, and we're going to do some thinking and planning about July. So we're going to start with a brain dump. Okay, good to see you, Melissa. I'm glad you were able to join us. Perfect timing. We've kind of been getting ready to get ready. We talked about the fact that we're halfway in the year. We did a little reflecting back, talked about what we're believing about our time, walked through some seasonal resets, and now we're jumping in July. So you came in at the perfect time. Okay, so I'm going to give you guys the next, let's say, 4 minutes. It's 6:24 my time. So at 6:28 is when we'll start moving over into the next section. So I'm on the monthly brain dump page. And for those of you who don't have a planner in front of you, it's super simple. Grab out a piece of paper and brain dump the things that you think you need to think about or do in the month of July. Now, our rule is always just because it gets written down doesn't mean it has to happen. But the goal is to get out of here or all the random post-it notes or places that you have it scattered right now and get it into kind of one place. If you like to just think messy and then create order out of it, great. If you would rather think in like buckets, maybe you want to think about what are like the 3 main buckets that I have going over the next month. Maybe your business or ministry is one of them. Maybe there's some family stuff going on. Maybe there's some projects in your house or at your church that you're wanting to work on. Maybe those are your 3 buckets. Maybe health is a bucket, right? So you could brain dump in buckets or you can brain dump messy and then make some buckets. Okay, but I'm going to give you a few minutes to brain dump. When you think July, this is not just your to-do list, it's also having fun. So think about what you want to do this weekend and how you want to make it significant if that's something you're wanting to do, or maybe even some travels that are coming up. As much as you can get down on paper for the month of July. Let's do that, and then we'll do something with it.
Don't you think it's time to forgive yourself? 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 Heaven says it's time. Heaven says it's time. Hasn't the self-hatred stayed long enough? Hasn't the self-hatred stayed long enough? Maybe that's all you thought you were worthy of. But hasn't the self-hatred stayed long enough? Heaven says it's time. Heaven says it's time to free your heart and free your mind. Heaven says it's time. This could be the moment it all could change. This could be the moment it all could change. Who told you that it always has to be this way? This could be the moment it all could change. Heaven says it's time. Heaven says it's time to free your heart and free your mind. Heaven says it's time. Wouldn't it feel like freedom to let it go? Wouldn't it feel like freedom to let it go? The weight of all the world was never yours to hold. Wouldn't it feel like freedom to let it go?
As you're looking at that list, the bottom of this page is our 4Ds. What on that list can you delete? It doesn't actually have to happen at all. What on that list can you delegate? It does need to happen, but you're not the only person on the planet that can do it. What on that list can you delay? Intentionally save for later because it's not time for it now, not because you don't want to do it. There's a difference, right? And what on that list are you going to delight in? And if you don't have enough things to mark delight in, then make sure you write down a couple extra things and add them to your list, permission, so you can write that fourth D, delight, next to them. And I would love to hear in the chat. I mean, July is kind of a fun month, usually when it comes to, things that are going on in either in your family or in your community or just, things that you maybe are looking forward to this month. So I would love to hear because your list may be long of things you think you need to do, but what's something you can't wait to do? You're really looking forward to. This is life-giving to you. Maybe it's something you do every July. Maybe it's just something that's coming up this July. Drop it in the chat. All three daughters have birthdays. Woo! That's going to be a lot of cake. Love it. What are you looking forward to in this July? Lightest month of the year. I love it. Michelle has always done a really good job of pulling back in July And that has actually helped me to do some pulling back this year for July. And I told her that was part of our example. Selling, yay, your house, hopefully, so you can move on. Good, good. Visiting your mom and going to lunch. I love it. I'm going on vacation with my parents for about 10 days. So it'll be nice to, we're going out to Maine, where my mom grew up going every summer to visit her grandma. So that'll be a change of scenery for me. I'm looking forward to that. So make sure that you're putting some things on there. Camping. Yes, I love this. Annette was camping last week and she's still camping. She gets to go back because somebody wasn't coming in to fill her spot. And so she's going back out to this place. And what a great time to just kind of be away from all the things in your house and, in life and get to focus on some refill, some focused work, things like that. I love it. Maine is on your list. Good. You should come with us. Love it. Okay, I see nothing on my list I can delete or delegate. Sometimes that happens, but I want you really like making sure that things are on your list because they actually do matter. They do matter now, and you are the only person who can do them. I think sometimes we think we're the only person we can do them. Sometimes we think it matters now, and sometimes we think it even matters. So just, you're not always going to have something for every single one, Kathy. So paying attention to, when those things are starting to come up, and maybe you're doing a good job of already filtering that before it goes on there. Okay, a lot of health appointments for a friend. I know several of you. I was talking to somebody today who drove somebody 2 hours to an appointment, and then they're going to be there all week with them. And this is a neighbor, not even a family member. So I love so many of you who have hearts to really come alongside other people, in this way. So always paying attention to the 4Ds filter because that's going to help us make sure stuff doesn't just go right from a brain dump right onto our list. So on the monthly planning page, we have 7 Ps that we work through each month. And our first one is pause. And so before we start actually doing some planning, I want you to take a Selah breath and to notice, what is God saying to me right now? Now that doesn't have to mean like in this exact moment. Maybe it's something that's been stirring in you over the today, over the last couple of days, over the last week, over the last month. We're just going to take a pause minute. I gave you a couple lines there. What do you feel like the Lord wants you to listen to? Maybe you've been hearing it, but you just haven't written it down. Maybe you've been kind of la 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 la. Fun, Militia. I just bought a ticket to a concert this week that's coming in a couple weeks in our area too. I love that. Okay, our second P is position, and that is related to our focus word. So the first thing you need to do is write down, what is my focus word for the month of July? Is it the same one it was for June? Is it the same one it was, for the months or quarter or, leading up? Maybe you have a word of the year that you're carrying all the way through the year. Sometimes we need that refocus on that word, if that is the word you want to have in front of us. I actually just had something come up about my word the other day, and I thought, I'm not as connected to that word as I was in the beginning of the year. So I love that this kind of brings us back to what's a word that I'm either wanting to be working towards or I want to define who I am, how I'm showing up, what is being produced by the way that I'm spending my time and living my life. I would always love hearing what your words are, even if it's the same word every time, because you do have a word of the year. Drop that in the chat. And the second part of this is, how aligned am I to this word right now? Would you say that this word hardly describes you, pretty much describes you, or completely describes you? Or maybe you want to rate yourself on a 1 to 10, right? Or maybe you just want to jot down a couple of thoughts about how you're seeing this showing up more in your life, or maybe some ways that you would like to lean into this a little bit more. Steadfast on the journey. I love it. Intentional. My word is walk, which is why I'm super excited. I don't have it sitting here because I started reading it, but God Walk is the book that the CEOs and I are reading. So if you like a good book, reach out to me and we may just say that you can come join us. It's going to be a really good book about using walking as a spiritual practice, as well as all the other benefits of it. So pruning in the first half of the year. Okay, I feel like I've done that. So it feels like a pause for the month of July. Another P. I love it. Yeah, sometimes you're like, okay, I feel like I've really grown in that. Now I feel like, I want to just kind of shift into something else. Discipleship, which is so perfect for what you're doing. I love it. Okay, our next P, abide. And it's okay, right? Like come back to it, Michelle, and say, okay, what would that look like for me to abide this month, right? Because maybe even how you defined that word back in January or whenever you said it may not even be the same as how you're defining it now, and how you're fleshing it out as you grow, right? It's going to grow with us. Our next P is patterns. And again, notice we have not gotten into a calendar yet, ladies. And there's a reason for that, because if we keep repeating the same things, we're going to keep getting the same results. So, what actions, things that you're probably doing on repeat, do you want to start? What habits do you want to continue? What habits do you want to stop? Feel free if you want to think of one for each one of those buckets, or there's just one that's really standing out to you. You're like, I know this one fits in this category, and this is the one that I really want to focus on in this next month. I'd rather you just focus on one than too many that we don't actually do or we don't actually stop. Willing and obedient. Love it. Just heard for July is intentional in my being willing and obedient. Yeah, okay. I love that. It's like building on what you had. And when you think about that, those habits, which one of those 8 key areas does it attach to? Is it about your faith walk? Is it in the area of family? Is it in the area of friendships? Service, which is the work you do, paid or unpaid. That could also be those of you who are full-time, caregivers. That's where that's going to fit, is under service, more so than dwelling, right? Because caring for your home, yes, there are people in it, but I see that as a different thing. Your stewardship, is it connected to that? How are you doing with your time, your resources, your money? Is it about your wellness? Is it about your passions or having fun, enjoying life? Is it about your dwelling, how you're caring for the space that you're in? Connect whatever that pattern is, whether you're stopping it, starting it, or continuing it, to one of those 8 areas. And I want you to think about this. If I was consistent in doing or not doing this over the next month, where would I be in this area 31 days from now? Because we have 31 days in July. What might that look like? And I think us going into that of not just I should start this or I should stop this or whatever the shoulds are. If I did do it, what would the outcome be? And let that be what really guides you and keeps you going. And I'm going to encourage you to take it one level deeper and make a decision right now. I'm all about making CEO decisions and then following through. We need to follow through, right? When am I going to do this? Is this something that's going to, first, you might want to look at frequency. Is this something that's going to happen every day? Or 5 days out of the week, or 3 days out of the week, or 2 days out of the week? Is this more of like an as needed type thing? Is this something that I'm going to give a small amount of time to on a more frequent basis, or a large block of time once in a while? Again, don't just say once in a while, get really specific around what kind of time you are going to give this and when in your day or week you are going to give this time. Because if we don't come up with a plan, guess what? It's not going to happen. That's why I said I'd rather you just have one that you're focusing on for the month of July. If it's something that you're stopping doing, you might want to think about like where it typically comes up and what you can replace that with, what you could be doing during that time instead. Okay, so we have a proactive plan instead of just hoping that we stop doing something we don't want to do. Okay, our next P, and then I promise we will get into our calendar, is your plan. And this is when we're thinking, what are you moving forward over the next 12 weeks? Okay, it could be a project or, working towards a goal in your business, your ministry, the work that you do. It could be something around your home that you really need and want to move forward. It could be something related to a relationship or health or things like that. If you have a business, you always should have some kind of a focus. You have a ministry, some kind of a focus that you're working towards, instead of just hoping as I check boxes, I'm going to get this somewhere. What's the one thing that you would love to move forward over the next 12 weeks? And then this is what we'll be fleshing out a little bit more on Wednesday. Excuse me. And then where would you like this thing to be by the end of July? I would love to hear in the chat. And again, we're going to give you some time and then come back on Wednesday and we're going to really flesh this out. So you don't have to decide today what your one thing is, like you're not locked in. You're not even locked in on Wednesday because you can always change it if the Lord says you can change it. But what is one thing that you either are already working towards moving forward and you're already in the middle of of a 12-week plan, or you really want to see move forward? And then again, make a note in your planner, where do you want that to be by the end of July? And part of what we'll do on Wednesday is break down. If I want to be here by the end of 12 weeks, then I want to be here by the end of August, here by the end of July. How do I start breaking down the weeks in between so that it's not this mad dash, right, when it gets to the end? Weekly videos, love it, to bring people into your paid community. I love it. So there are a lot of pieces around that, which will be good for us to kind of break down when we do that. So feel free to keep dropping them in there. And we are going to turn the page and start looking at the month of July. So if you haven't already, go ahead and put the dates in. The first is obviously on a Wednesday of this month. The 31st, that means, ends on a Friday. So if you need to, fill in those dates. What I always encourage you then to do is to take that checklist over on the left-hand side, which starts with our weekly Sabbaths and Selah pauses. Where are you putting in some of that margin and white space? I'll type these out for those of you who don't have a planner in front of you. The second one is personal events and commitments. You may have more because it's summer, right? And so there tends to be a lot more family reunions and vacations and get-togethers and things like that. So I love having a month at a glance where I can see where are those things happening. And then I can see what kind of time do I have before, and after that. It helps visually. So what kind of personal events and commitments do you have? What kind of work or business or ministry events and commitments do you have? And then the last one is always to think about those monthly milestones. So what I just said, by the end of July, where do you want that one thing to be? And then breaking it down a little bit further into your weekly targets. And if you're going to be giving a specific, maybe on Fridays is going to be set aside for working on that one thing, then maybe you put it on your Fridays. So that way you can see those and it's not just on a to-do list or a should-do list. Okay, but I'll give you we'll take like the next about 10 minutes or so. You may get all of your stuff in here if you've already been putting things in here. Like when I turn to this page, I've got the majority of my things that are coming up for the month of July already in here. Maybe you need to pull out your digital calendar because some things are in there. Maybe this is where you're kind of thinking about all the random things that you haven't put on the calendar. We want to try and get it all in one place so we can see how our time flows over the month of July. And if you have questions as you're doing it, go ahead and pop them in the chat. And pay attention to how it feels when you look at the way things flow. You may notice, for me, I've got vacation smack dab in the middle of the month. So I've got like a week and a half before I leave. I'm gone for a week and a half, and I have about a week and a half when I get back. And so I'm thinking about those in 3 different phases. And I know I've learned I need to block a buffer day the day before I leave and the day after I get back. Not just for packing, but just like getting my brain, right, either unplugged from work and business or back into those routines and things like that. So maybe you want to build some extra buffer in, or maybe you're realizing, wow, got a lot of things that seem to kind of be tightly packed in this one section. How can I build a little bit of margin in that section or right around it so that way I don't drive me or anyone else crazy? But we can't always make those decisions unless we can see what it looks like. So I'll be quiet. I'll find another song and let us do this.
I've been thinking about time and where does it go? How can I stop my life from passing me by? I don't know. I've been thinking about family, now it's going so fast. Will I wake up one morning just wishing that I could go back? I've been thinking about lately, maybe I can make a change and let it change me. So with all of my heart, this is my prayer. Singing, oh Lord, keep me in the moment. Help me just wanna stay where you are. All I got is one shot, one try, one go around in this beautiful life. Nothing is wasted when everything's placed in your hands. Singing, oh Lord, keep me in the moment. Help me live with my eyes wide open, 'cause I don't wanna miss what you have for me. Singing, oh Lord, show me what matters, and throw away what I'm chasing after, 'cause I don't wanna miss what you have for me. Keep me in the moment. Keep me in the moment. Oh, keep me in the moment. Keep me in the moment. Keep me in the moment, 'cause I don't wanna miss what you have for me. I've been thinking about heaven and the promise you hold. So it's all eyes on you until the day you call me home. Singing, oh Lord, keep me in the moment. Help me live with my eyes wide open, 'cause I don't wanna miss what you have for me. I don't wanna miss, I don't wanna miss. Singing, oh Lord, show me what matters, and throw away what I'm chasing after, 'cause I don't wanna miss what you have for me. Yeah. Keep me in the moment. Oh, keep me in the moment. Keep me in the moment, 'cause I don't wanna miss what you have for me. Keep me in the moment. Keep me in the moment. Oh, keep me in the moment. Keep me in the moment. Keep me in the moment, 'cause I don't wanna miss what you have for me.
There's a new dawn, light is breaking. All creation longing, waiting for the breath of heaven to say it's time to catch the wind. And there's a new song, dry bones rising, waking up to heaven's timing. So come alive, oh death inside, it's time to live again. Sing, oh sing my soul, praise rise up, extol. I will awake, I will arise, it's time. Sing, oh sing my soul, praise rise up, extol. I will awake, I will arise, it's time. Come alive, come alive. Praises rise in me. Come alive, come alive. Praises rise in me.
There's a dance in the newfound freedom, on the wings of the promise keeper, a declaration that time is here. There's brand new life within.
Sing, oh sing my soul, praise rise up, extol. I will awake, I will arise, it's time. Sing, oh sing my soul, praise rise up, extol. I will awake, I will arise, it's time. Come alive, come alive. Praises rise in me. Come alive, come alive. Praises rise in me. The time is always right to leave the old and dead behind, to shake off all the lies. I'm coming back to life. The time is always right to leave the old and dead behind, to shake off all the lies. I'm coming back to life. The time is always right to leave the old and dead behind, to shake off all the lies. I'm coming
Okay, you may or may not have everything on there, but hopefully you've gotten a good start to getting everything in one place where you can very clearly see it. Before I forget, make sure you add to your calendar that July 27th is our next monthly planning call at 6 o'clock Central Time. So make sure that that is in your plan so that way you can be joining us. Our last P is pace. And again, you may be looking at all that's in front of you going, Lissa, I have no idea how this is going to happen. Or you may be looking at it going, wow, it feels like I have so much time. And inevitably, it's going to feel like you didn't have any time when we get to the end of the month and say, where did the time go? So either way, how are you intentionally going to build in margin or white space? Build in time. I think it was from the book, I think it was The Ruthless Elimination of Hurry, where he talked about this story about this indigenous tribe where they would stop on their hikes every so often to let their souls catch up with their bodies. Right. And I think we need to do that, right? I need to I need to pause so that my soul can catch up. Right. And so if we're not intentionally putting that time in, we are going to feel like we're a chicken with our head cut off. We're running around like the rest of the world. Like it all depends on us. Stressed out, worn out, burned out. But what does Jesus offer us? Right? A new way of carrying life, a new way of doing the things that he's called us to do. And that first starts by resting in him and walking with him and learning how he does it. So what are you intentionally how are you going to commit to slowing down? And then before we do our last P, which is pray, I want to ask you a really important question. You've made some CEO decisions, hopefully wise ones. Now remember, wisdom, we were just talking about this in church yesterday because we were in James about wisdom from above and from below. So it's a great place to go look and see is what I'm doing for wisdom from above. It's producing peace. That's one of the fruits. But wisdom is making the best decision you can with the information that you currently have. So that doesn't always mean it's perfect. It doesn't mean that decisions you make don't change, but it's making a decision because not making a decision is a decision. Did you know that? And that is why I think so many of us feel like time gets away because we don't make decisions about what should be getting our time and what shouldn't. And then everyone and everything else decides for us. So I want you to identify one decision tonight that you have made about your time, some element of your time in the next month. Okay, so I want you to focus in on what's one decision that you have made tonight around your time over the next month. It doesn't have to be spanning the whole month. It just could be one small little piece of something in the next month. Something that you do know matters and time for that matters. And here's my question for you. And I want you to drop this in the chat. What is one thing that you will do to protect that time? We all know how easy it is to sit here on this when nobody's ringing, dinging, and pinging at us, or maybe they are. When nobody's saying, hey, mom, hey, grandma, hey, whatever role you're playing in somebody's life. And it's really easy to say something when we're sitting here and then, it doesn't happen. So how are you going to protect that? What's one thing that you are committing to do to protecting that decision that you felt led to make around something in your time? So what is the decision? That's the first step. And what is something that you are putting in place to protect that? If you want to unmute and you just want to kind of in 30 seconds or less, share it with us, you can do that. Otherwise, drop it in the chat like Kathy did, my morning time with God. The way I protect it is by getting up early before things get busy. Yes, I love that. Great book. We were talking about it today on Wham is the Mornings book. I can't remember the name of the book now. So Debbie, I know you're reading it. Maybe you can drop the name of it. I should know what it's called, but by Jennifer Dukes Lee, who was on the podcast a couple of weeks ago about we're all morning people because God's a morning person, but that doesn't mean all of our mornings look the same. So read at least 3 times a week. I love that. So I'll protect it by scheduling it. Yay. Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. I love it. I blocked out 4 Friday mornings for my course. Okay. I love it. 2 hours each time to get through a course. Videos with Jim, which you've mentioned. I love that, allowing more screen time than I normally would. Okay. Sometimes, yes, that does give us a little bit of bandwidth to be able to do something. And putting some healthy boundaries around it is okay if they have a little bit more than usual. So I'm going to spend at least one afternoon a week, Friday, if not before, not in front of the computer. I love it, right? Yeah, it's very easy for all of our time to get, in front of a screen doing really meaningful things and important things. And yet we need that time to be unplugged. So And I want you to get that decision in front of you, right? So whether it's something that's going to be an ongoing decision that's going to affect all, yes, how to live your morning. Thank you, Kathy. Whether it's an ongoing decision for the whole month of July or whether it's something specific about a certain day or a certain week this month, I want you to be revisiting the decisions that we make on a planning call like this. And what am I doing to protect this time? Maybe it's a conversation. Well, first, it's always going to start with you making that decision first because you know this is the Lord has called you to make time for. Then it may involve communicating that to some people around you. It may involve unplugging or uncommunicating from some things around us. So thinking about what am I going to do to protect that boundary? Spend more time with my horses. I love that. So I would get really curious in that. What does more time look like? Right. If you can start to give that some parameters, then that will help you to make the time for it and to know, am I actually spending more time with my horses or not? Right? Helps us see if that's actually happening. And as always, if you want support around being intentional with your time, making these decisions, looking at what your month holds, as well as then each week, how do you reflect back on the past week and look ahead at the next one? That's what we do inside CEO Focus. Today was our weekly accountability meeting. We come together for a way that we look back at the week before and we look ahead at the coming week and what we want to be accountable to. We get some coaching or masterminding around things that we're working on. And then Wednesdays, we come together for co-working where we are actually moving something forward. And this week, like I said, you guys are all invited to join us. We're going to be planning our 12-week growth map. So you're welcome to join us for that. And, normally it's a co-working where you bring something that is moving you forward in some area of what you're working on. But okay, yeah, anytime is better than now. So yeah, so what would that be? 30 minutes, twice a week? Would that be an hour once a week? What would that look like? I'd get really as much as you can, and that just kind of what would a baseline be, and you can always do more, right? So I love it. I love it. All right. Well, how can we be praying for you? If you're interested in information about CEO Focus, reach out to me, and I'll go ahead and drop the link to check out the website. But I feel like there's so much more than just what the website shows. So let me see if this will link it. There we go. You're welcome to go there or reach out to me, and I can definitely connect with you and see if this is a good fit for you. How can we be praying for you in the month of July? Go ahead and drop that in the chat. And as you're doing that, just a reminder, we do have a prayer request section of our community so that any time of the month, if there's something you're celebrating that the Lord has answered or he's doing, if there's something that you are struggling with, if there's something we've had things, come up in the moment that people have wanted prayer for. So that is a place where you can always come and share that and know that there are women who are praying for you and with you over those things. And then following up to see how those things are going and what God's doing in that. So if there's something specific we can pray for you in the month of July, feel free to drop it in the chat. Otherwise, we know that the Lord knows these things, right? And I will pray us out and let you guys enjoy the last day and whatever is left. Narelle's closer to July than the rest of us. And where she is, it's like midnight your time, Narelle, isn't it? Or no, maybe it's not so late there. Maybe that's my England people. Okay, yeah.
No, it's 9:30 in the morning.
Okay, you're morning now. Okay, so it's not so bad. Yeah, it's those the people who are on the other side of the pond right there that are. It's 1 o'clock in the morning by this time. So
Yeah, no, and tomorrow is July.
yes, okay, yep. Let us know how it goes since you get there first. All right, well, let's pray. Lord, we just thank you for just your provision of time, but more important for your presence in our time. I thank you that you, the one who exists beyond time, meets us in our time and gives us the gift of time so that we can walk intentionally with you to live out the calling that you've given us in our life, in our business, in our ministry, in the season that you've called us to. And Lord, I thank you that while we can't control it, you can and you do. And so we trust you with these plans that we've made tonight, with these decisions we've made tonight, with the things that we know or that we think we know about the month ahead of us, fully acknowledging that we don't know all there is. And we know that you do. And so we want to walk faithfully with you and yet do our active part as CEOs of the life and business that you've given to us. And Lord, I just pray over each woman who is here and also those in our community who are not here. You know every single one of our needs. Just like all of our days before even one of them came to be. And so I just pray that you will continue to be faithful as you always are. Pray for Michelle and for all of us, I'm sure would echo this prayer that we would have your peace over our personal life and our business. There are so many things that are weighing on our hearts and minds in both areas. And just thank you that you do meet us in those things. I thank you that you have purposes in those things, even the hard parts of them. And I pray that you will just give peace to Michelle in the things that she's navigating in those two areas over the next few weeks. Lord, as Emmy is trying to get her house ready to get on the market, I do pray that you will help provide the people that she needs to do the projects that need to happen for even her family members and their role and what that looks like. There be cooperation and good attitudes and stamina, yes, just in being able to work towards this so their family can move on fully to their next chapter. And just in this time, I pray that you would just fill them with gratitude for all that you have done in their lives and all that you have done through this home that they've been in, and even over the last year of their journey on the road, and just start preparing them for the next things that you have for them. And for Militia, and I'm sure for all of us, that we would listen to our bodies, that we would let our souls catch up and pay attention to how we're sometimes pushing the limits of our physical capacity to try to fit more in. God, stir us and prompt us to be still more often, to be unplugged more often, to be quiet more often, to be just still more often, and to let our bodies and our minds rest in the way that you have intended them to. So Lord, we just thank you for just this evening. Thank you for this time together, and pray your blessing over the way that we steward this time with you over the next month. We give you all the glory. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Amen. Well, thanks you guys for being here. I'm sure I'll see many of you between now and the 27th, but if not, I will see you on the 27th. And can't wait to hear what's going on. So stay in touch with us inside the community. Let us know what's going on, how we can pray for you, support you, what you're working on, what you're moving forward, what you're struggling with, what you're celebrating, because we love doing that together. All right, we'll see you guys soon.